Well, hello everyone. The Varietal Show is back. I'm Chris Sawyer, and this is my great friend, Sarah Fowler. And today, we are celebrating the 4-year anniversary of this show. Oh my God. We have had so much fun. So much stuff has gone down. As you know, this 2020 thing has been interesting, to say the least. Luckily, there's been great wine the whole time, and you know, Peju Winery here in Napa Valley, this is in a very special part of Napa Valley called Rutherford. And Rutherford is a very old historical region for wine. As we know, some of you guys know the BV brand and the George de la Tour vineyard, which is just across the street here. And Rutherford has been a place where Cabernet's been really famous for a long time, Sarah. Before we get into why it's so famous here and why this area is so great, Sarah Fowler is really just a great winemaker, a good friend of mine. We went and saw LCD Sound System together, which is awesome if you guys know music. But, you know, Sarah, you're actually not that far away from here is where you were born and raised, up there in Lake County and all these places, and you're kind of a local just like me here in Napa Valley.
That's correct. Well, I was born in San Mateo and have lived in Northern California most of my life. My family does have a 400-acre ranch up in Lake County since 1884, which is a big deal, all organic. Well, so yeah, so I'm definitely consider myself a Northern California local girl.
Yep, she's got it from the South Bay, North Bay, she's everywhere, and she's in Napa Valley. So Rutherford is a very special place to both of us. You've been here at Peju for how long now?
17 years.
17 years, oh my gosh. We've known each other longer than that, but this has been an amazing thing. So I really wanted to kind of show off some things about this area. We do a lot of things for the Rutherford Dust Society, which is one of the most wonderful wine organizations of all times. And basically, you know, it's a really interesting concept, the Rutherford Dust. What is the dust? Who knows? Andrei Chelychev, the legendary Andrei Chelychev, was the one that really kind of coined this phrase. What's your definition of the dust?
Well, that's such an interesting perspective because, well, I'm going to go back up a little bit. The Rutherford Dust Society was the first AVA, the actual first AVA in the Napa Valley, and with an organization that supported it.
Yep.
And it's just a fabulous organization. And Andrew Chelychev, back in the day, because you had to have an AVA, it had to be distinct and different than any other area. Rutherford has a certain flavor profile that they kept referring to as Rutherford Dust. And it is kind of one of those, like, you know, I'm not quite sure what it is, but there's a little something there, whether it's a flavor character and the tannins coming from the soil, but it really has a sense of place more than anything else.
Yeah. Well, my definition of it is this is the whitest point in the whole valley. So you've got all these kinds of parts of it, and we've done some of these great profiles of actually the part that kind of goes up here against the Rutherford bench right over here, and then the middle of the valley, and then we do the part that's at the base of the Vaca Mountains over there. So we've done all sorts of things, and it's been such a cheerful thing. You know, we got amazing members of the wine industry that are part of this organization. But, you know, Peju's always been here as part of it. They founded it, their winery here. We've got Inglenook right across the street, one of the legendary places. You've got BV, you've got all these brands that are here. It's just a special flavor that really comes through, and that's my Rutherford Dust. It's the flavor that each winery brings out in it. So we brought a couple of these great examples here. So the first one we're going to taste is a 2018 Reserve. So this was the classic Peju label right there, as you can see. And this is the 18 vintage, to me, kind of showy, kind of yummy, kind of everything inside each sip. What do you think?
Oh, I love the 2018s. I'm like, they got a little voluptuousness to them, a little concentration. It was an easy year, if you will, in the sense there wasn't any like major environmental inputs.
Right.
The 2018, I mean, it's delicious. It's one of the ones that I keep gravitating toward. I like it even better than the 17s. There's just something about it that is just like, it just coats your tongue in a like velvety, delicious way. And this is 100% Cabernet. It's 100% Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yep.
And it's 100% from Rutherford, obviously.
Yep.
So about 85% new oak, all French.
Yep.
And
it's definitely got the spiciness to it. And I mean, I love the lush flavor of it. Blackberries, just like fresh picked down of the creek kind of blackberry flavor. And just there's a nice currant note. There is a little bit of blue fruit in the background, and some violets, and all these kinds of things. But those spices, I love them.
Spices are good. There's good acidity. All the wines were made with intent to go with food. Also, I mean, not that you can't drink it without, but there's definitely that. And one of the things, going back to Rutherford, if you know what the valley looks like, Rutherford is smack dab in the middle, so we call it the heart of the Napa Valley.
Right.
So I want to make sure that
exactly smack dab in the middle. It's actually interesting because it's just a little, less than 5 miles to downtown St. Helena, going north from here. So it's just like a little 4 miles. Sorry, maybe I'm thinking of a different place in downtown,
okay.
But we're really right on the border of that. But it's interesting because this is the widest point in the valley. But as you go past St. Helena, it really curves that way. It starts going northwest, and it gets really slim there. There's a point where it's almost less than a mile wide. But this is we've got some miles between us here, between this mountain and that mountain. And it's a really special place, and that's why there's a lot of great producers here. Speaking of great, this wine is fantastic. So let's try the 2019 vintage, another phenomenal vintage. And for me, I feel like this is one of those age-worthy ones that really, you kind of like it now, but I think that these 19s are something to really age, and that's really a great reason where this is like a reserve style.
Right, that's correct. And so this is actually part of our stained glass series. So we tasted the 2018, it's one of our reserve wines here, and then this is part of a different series that we have, stained glass series. We have a beautiful piece of stained glass that's in our tasting room, and that is just one portion of it, and that's our Rutherford Cab. And so also very similar in flavor profiles as the 2018, yet I think it's got definitely some stronger tannin structure, and it is younger, but a lot of and the Rutherford wines have a distinct flavor component that follows through across the board. So,
wow, deep, dense, chewy in some ways, It's got a lot of things going on in there. Right now, I want a pretty rare steak with this. And I want maybe even a little bit of blue cheese melting on top of it, but we don't need to go there right now. I know. But, I think that it's really great. It really is an evolving wine. It's young, it's youthful, it's wonderful. I mean, it's 4 years old, technically, but it's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a great winery, too. One thing I do want to say, this is a winery, 1983 was, the founding parts of it. So this is the 40-year anniversary, not only of a couple of the AVAs right here in Napa Valley, which is also Carneros and Howell Mountain are celebrating their 40-year anniversary.
Rutherford is too.
And Rutherford. And so here we go. We go really into these kinds of places, and really what's so special about them. Rutherford is very special, and it's really the first area inside of Napa Valley that became a sub-AVA. Remember, Howell Mountain is up on the mountain, and Carneros is way down there at the very far south end of the region. So this has been a very historical area. Peju has done a really great job of making this happen, for sure. So let's pour these two out, and we've got two more for you guys to get into with us. And we've got something that Sarah and I really love is Cabernet Franc. Yay! And so we're going to taste a couple of these. We're going to do the 50-50, and I'm going to pour the 50-50 in this glass, Sarah, on my right.
Okay, we'll do Flavio.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to keep with the reserves here. So this is the 2018. This is the Cabernet Franc. Hang on 1 second. Get my fingers out of the way there. 2018 vintage Cabernet Franc. So tell us a little bit about Cabernet Franc and why you love Cabernet Franc.
Well, I think Cab Franc is one of those really interesting varietals that not everybody loves. It's kind of people either tend to like it or not like it. And I think the reason why is people don't necessarily know how to grow Cabernet Franc. I spend more time in the vineyard on Cabernet Franc than any other varietal.
Yep.
It's typically a later varietal, and so I really want to balance it out so it ripens early enough So it gets the more mature flavors in the fact that it's more ripe. Cabernet Franc has a tendency to be herbaceous, which is its natural tendency, but I try to push it more towards the savory, dried herbs as opposed to fresh green herbs. And I think everybody can make a great Cabernet Sauvignon in the Napa Valley, but not everybody can make a good Cabernet Franc. And so for me, if I go to a party or I go to a dinner, go out to dinner, I love bringing the Cab Franc because I'm very, very proud of what we do here with it.
I am too, and to be really honest, I mean, Cabernet Franc has gone to a different level over the past 15 years. It really wasn't where it should have been 20 years ago. We have a great innovator here named John Scumpney, who we all love, Lang & Reed, and he really helped bottle it here with the Napa Valley part on the label and having people go, maybe we could do this by itself. And I think it's better farming. I mean, Sarah's absolutely right. It can be very green, and you don't want it to be green, but you don't want to let it ripen too much either. So it is one of the classic grapes of the old world from Loire Valley. This is the kind of grape that was there and actually crossed with another famous grape called Sauvignon Blanc. Do you know what that equals if you put those two together? Cabernet Sauvignon. Oh, go figure. So this is actually the father of Cabernet Sauvignon. We just didn't know how to make it yet, about 20 years ago. But we're good now.
And we've been making, Peju's been making a Cabernet Franc for at least that long.
I know.
So so people
you
have been
guys were
playing
cutting
around
edge.
with it.
They're cutting edge.
And it's just been fun. We make several different Cabernet Francs, by the way. And in total, I make about somewhere between 40 and 50 different wines, depending on the vintage. So it's a lot.
It's good. This is very savory. She's absolutely right. It does have a lot of these kinds of deep flavors. It's kind of almost like there's a blackberry berry, but almost like a black raspberry note to it too.
With some like tea characteristics in there, maybe a little cedar, and it's good. Yeah, it's nice.
I like it. I like it. I want it spiced, and I like barbecue food with this too. And as we go into summertime, but also fall, and all these kinds of savory kinds of notes and stews and things like that in the wintertime are fantastic.
Yeah.
So speaking of great wines, and think about Napa Valley. We think about Napa Valley cab. That's kind of modern for now. It's always been here since the 60s and even before that. But the most important grape, too, for a long time was Merlot. And we used to have a great event called Merlot in May. Every May, Merlot in May. One of my favorite wines is right here. This, great 50-50. And tell us a little bit about this in Cabernet Sauvignon and Cabernet Franc. And for Merlot, Merlot. Oh, but you did one with Cabernet Franc in it, didn't you?
Well, I've done some but 50-50 has always been,
Okay.
since the beginning, it's been 50% Merlot,
Yeah.
50% Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
And it's, I actually put 50% new oak in it,
Yeah.
half of which is American, half of which is French. Makes it super easy for the, sales guys in the TR to remember these things. But this is the 2019, so this is new, it's still very young.
I haven't tasted this one.
So this is, the 2019 is when we've just gone off of tasting the 18s or 17s and 18s.
Yeah.
We've just transitioned to the 19s. Like, oh my gosh, you're so young. It's almost like they're an awkward teenager, but they're going to be a little bit of time or a little bit of air. This is it's still delicious.
Yes.
It tends to be a little bit more voluptuous and round. In general, it's got good acidity, but the Merlot kind of softens it up and it's a little bit more fleshy.
Yeah.
But the Cab gets it some structure. It's just a user-friendly, fun, easy-drinking
I just
wine.
love the mouthfeel of this one. I mean, it really is. It's got that Cabernet kind of flavor and everything, but the softness in the middle is what Merlot really is. So it's an elegant, sophisticated grape.
Well, people like drinking Merlot. People, even when after Sideways, people were didn't want to go purchase Merlot, but Merlot was still one of the top red wines that were sold in the United States, but a lot of times it was just under the red blend.
Yeah.
So people took the Merlot and they didn't pull it out. We just rebranded it, and people are, oh my gosh, red blends are delicious.
Yeah.
Merlot's coming back.
50-50.
That's why it's hard to find, actually, good Merlots these days.
So 50-50 to me is like one of those ones when I come in here, I usually go, hey, can I get a bottle of the 50-50? Just because I like it so much, and it just goes with such a wide range of food. People, I think the success of Merlot, we know because of women who really want to taste their food, who don't want to cover the flavors of the food. Merlot became something that was very satisfying. The tannins are very balanced in Merlot. That's a really important part. It's soft tannins, and that's why I just like drinking this. It's just good by itself. It's really good with like charcuterie. You know, when you really want a good red wine, a charcuterie to start out the evening, this is that kind of thing for me.
Well, and it also it ages quicker, faster because it doesn't have as many tannins. Merlot is just a big fat grape in comparison to Cabernet Sauvignon. You know, you got your thumb and your pinky, and it's like tiny. There's just more tannins in Cab, and so Merlot, because of just the skin to pulp ratio, is just softer just by design. And so you can drink this earlier.
Yep.
It's more approachable.
Yep.
Cab will get there with a little bit of more time. So just Merlot just kind of like is user friendly sooner, and it's delicious.
We like these wines. So once again, Peju, an amazing winery right here in Rutherford. We support the Rutherford Dust Society so much.
Thank you. Did you know I'm the VP on the board now? So, come to our events. Come to our events, celebrating our 30th year. Peju celebrating our 40th. All the places, come and play in Rutherford.
We got a lot of stuff going on here in Rutherford. So hope you guys enjoyed this amazing episode of the fabulous Varietal Show. We will be back next week, and thank you once again for joining us.
Yes.
Cheers!
Yay!